Hello students, today we are going to study a new topic which is types of human character. Now in this topic we are going to study about the types of human characters found in our society. For example, this is just based on the inheritance of the characters in the human. It is classified on the types of heredited characters. So this is heredity characters based. So let's see what are the different types of human characters which are based on the heredity character in the humans. So first one is autosomal characters. This is autosomal character. Now you know that autosomal characters are controlled by the dominant gene. So in this also all these autosomal characters are divided into two parts. One of it is the autosomal dominant and its other type is autosomal recessive. So let's see what are the autosomal dominant and what are the autosomal recessive characters. So dominating characters are those which are always expressed and in the autosomals, means in the rest 22 pairs of the chromosome which are common in male and female. And we have to next see the 22 pair of common chromosomes characters which are in the recessive form. So let's see first one, autosomal dominant. Its some of the examples are like the tylosis. Then it's some of the examples like that autosomal character which is dominant is Huntington's chorea. Huntington's chorea. So these are the some traits which are autosomal dominant in the humans you can see. For example, these are just controlled by the dominant genes, as I have told you. So they are controlled by the dominant genes and they appear in every generation. You can see as they are the dominating ones, so you can see them in each and every generation appearing continuously. Secondly, we are having autosomal recessive disorders. Autosomal recessive disorders, for example, there is a sickle cell anemia. You can also see cystic fibrosis. These are just two examples, like thalassemia is also there. So these are some of the examples for autosomal recessive disorder. These autosomal recessive disorders are controlled by recessive genes and appear only in homozygous conditions. Alright, so they are present in only in the homozygous situations or the homozygous conditions. They appear of affected children from the normal parents. Means you can see that from the normal parent they have got affected. Now, how is it possible? So, in these cases, generally either of the parent becomes carrier for them. Okay, we'll see further that what is that carrier and how from a normal parent a child has got affected. So, we'll see all that things. For example, this is also like all children of affected parents are also affected, means all the children which you will see in a parent, they all are affected. That can be also seen in this autosomal recessive character. So we'll see that also. Secondly, we are having sex linked characters. We are having sex linked characters also. These sex linked characters are particularly seen on some of the chromosomes, not like the autosomals. Okay, so these sex linked chromosomes are again divided into different parts. For example, this one type is X linked character. Now, in this X linked character, you will see the genes for such traits are dominant and are located on X chromosome. X chromosome, that means you can understand this can be in the female or in the male. Male is having XY and the female is having XX. So in female's body it can be on this also, it can be on this also, but in males it will be always on this one, right? So it can be on either of them. That is your on the X chromosome they are always seen. Let's see the next how they are going to affect. So this is one type where is X linked. Now next let us see that the other type. The second type for this is the X linked recessive. So the second type is X linked recessive. Now in this one, in this X-linked recessive, you will always see that genes for such traits are recessive and are located on the X chromosome. In the previous condition, they were dominant, but in this case, they are recessive, not the dominant. They are hiding themselves behind the X chromosome. Okay, so they are hidden over here. So now you can see in this, it generally happens in the males and very rarely these type of characters will be seen in the females, and they often show criss-cross pattern. Criss-cross pattern we have already discussed in one of the previous video. Criss-cross pattern means if a father is affected, he is going to affect the daughter, and if a mother is affected, she is going to infect her son. Alright, so this kind of a pattern is called as the criss-cross pattern. Now let us see the further. Next, for example, if you want to see for this, then for example there is a haemophillia, color blindness, even diabetes also. So these are the some X-linked recessive disorders, which X-linked recessive things which you can see in the human. Next, for this we are having Y-linked. Now these Y-linked, these are the genes for such traits are located on the Y chromosome. So that is why it is mentioned over here that it is going to be the Y-linked diseases. So genes for such traits are located on the Y chromosome and transmitted from father to son. Alright. So in these cases, the diseases are generally transferred from father to son, and all the sons of an affected person are going to be affected. So all the sons will be affected in this case. Fine. Now next, what happens in this only, there is one more case which is called as the multiple gene or multiple allele. Now in this case, when more than a pair of gene controls a character, or the character expresses itself in more than one form, they are called as the multiple genes or the multiple alleles. So they control more than one character. So that's why it is mentioned that it is the multiple gene or the multiple allele, where they control more than one, more than X, more than Y. Okay. Now on the basis of this, let us see that what are the human genetic disorders. Human genetic disorders, we have already discussed that they are of two types, Mendelian and chromosomal disorders. So in this video, we are going to see the Mendelian disorders. So let's see what are the Mendelian disorders. Mendelian disorders are the genetic disorders which can be either in recessive or dominant. So now you know that Mendelian disorders can be both types. They can be dominant also, and they can be the recessive also. So for this, we are going to take one of the example, which is going to be the haemophilia. Alright. So the first thing we are going to study about this is haemophilia. Haemophilia is one of the sex-linked recessive disorder which is located on the X chromosome. Alright, so haemophilia is one of the sex-linked recessive disorder which is expressed on the X chromosome. Now these haemophilia diseases, which you can see, they are responsible for the producing blood clotting in the human's body. For example, if you see that a human have got a cut on his body, after some time his body stops bleeding. The blood gets clotted on the surface or on the cut place, and it stops the blood flow. But here in this case, that blood clotting pigment gets stopped and it doesn't work in a proper way. That's why on a small cut also a person keeps on bleeding, and sometimes it happens that because of this reason a person goes for the death also. So on the basis of the its features, haemophilia is divided into two types, that is haemophilia A and haemophilia B. Haemophilia A happens because of the lack of anti-phemophilic, that is anti-phemophilic. This is actually a globulin. Okay, so this is one of the globulin which is found in the plasma. So this you can see in the plasma, which is responsible for causing hemophilia A kind of. Second, the one which we are having is hemophilia B. So hemophilia B is caused due to the lack of the plasma, which is called as thromboplastin. So this one is thromboplastin. All right. So this is, these two are because of these two pigments or these two plasmas disability found in the body. This hemophilia has came in the existence because of the Queen Victoria's family, and this hemophilia has been quite common in the royal families of Europe, and this has got spread through the children of Queen Victoria, who was a carrier of hemophilic recessive genes. So you can say this has come from the Europe of. Now in the hemophilia you will see that mostly in the male members of the family. So it's some of the characteristics. Okay, so it's some of the characteristics are like, one of them you can say that they are seen in the male members of the family, rare in females, you can see this. Third, a very important point for it is that females can be both, like they can be hemophilic only when they receive the X chromosome which have the allele for hemophilia. Otherwise, generally they become the carrier for the hemophilia. Okay, so hemophilia's carrier are generally females, but in very rare cases you will see a female who is suffering from the hemophilia disease. So they can be both because they are having two X chromosomes, right? So because of that they can be both, but generally you will see the females are the carriers. In the feature where the females can be hemophilic, in that they need a chromosome which can be like this, okay, which should be representing hemophilia. Otherwise they are going to be just the carriers. So the fourth one, where these can be the males have only one. So as you know that males are having XY, and if they have got affected with the hemophilic chromosome, that means they are going to be the hemophilic patient, because they are having just one, so they are for sure going to be the hemophilic. But it is optional in the females case where two are there, so they can be the carrier if just one X is affected, but if both is affected, which is very rare, then they are going to be the patient for hemophilic. So these are some characteristic features of the hemophilia disease. So now on the basis of this, if you want to make any cross related to that, then you can also make the cross for this. For example, we can see one of the cross. For example, if you see that women who is, this is a female, and this female is seems to be normal, but actually this female is not normal. She is a carrier, because we have got to know in one of the case that these child of this family is having hemophilia. So if you get a question in your exam that a child in a family has got hemophilia disease from a normal parents, then how come it is going to be like that? So for this person, the XY, the man who is here, this man or male is going to be the normal, but here female is going to be the carrier, it's one of the X is going to be get affected because of this. Now if you will make a cross, you will see this X and this X is going to be the normal. So this is the girl who is just a normal girl, and I'm going to mention over here for the normal girl child. Now if this X and Y is going to get affected, then this means that a normal boy they are having, but now here case is going to be different. Here double X and one X is going to be H. That means this girl is going to be the carrier. Now if this X and Y meets, then XH and the Y is there. That means this is a boy, and this boy is a hemophilic boy because this X is the affected one. So that's why from a normal parent there is a child who is affected also, and a girl is there who is the carrier for this particular disease. So now here you can see that this is got in the continuation of the family. So that is why this is one of the hemophilia is going to be one of the recessive sex linked disorder, right? So let's see further. This is one of the example of hemophilia's cross, right? So the next which we have to see the cross, that one is of color blindness. So now let's see that what is this color blindness. Our second disease is color blindness. Now the very first thing people think that color blindness means the disease in which a person is completely blind, but no, it's actually not like that. Color blindness doesn't mean that a person is blind. It means that the person whom you're seeing, that person is unable to identify or to differentiate between the red and green color. This happens because the cones of the eye, which are responsible for distinguishing between the red and green color, are not working in a proper way. So that's why this disease is called as the color blindness, because it is unable to identify the difference between the these colors. Now this color blindness is a sex-linked recessive character. This is sex-linked recessive character and is generally expressed about 8% in males and very rare in females. You will see this disease. So this is rarely seen in the females but often seen in the males, and that is also just the 8%. It is located on the X chromosome. As this is one of the sex-linked recessive, so definitely it is going to be on the X chromosome, right? So now you know that in this a person is generally having problem of differentiating or identifying the difference between the red and green color. Some characters it is having like when a normal woman marries to a colorblind man, then the offsprings like if daughter is there and son is there, then will have the normal color vision. Okay, so this kind of condition is also seen that a normal woman marries to the colorblind man, but their offsprings will have the normal color vision. Sometimes cases there that when these daughters are married to the normal man, then you will see that the 50% of the sons will be the colorblind and remaining will be the normal. Just the 50% chances are there. So now how this has happened? This has happened just because the girls which were normal, actually they are the carriers. They are not the affected one. They are having carriers, they are having colorblind gene carrying on their X chromosome, which has got transmitted in the next generation to the sons. That's why they have become the colorblind. Alright, so let us try to understand this with some of the crosses. So let me make one of the cross. Just like this case what we have discussed right now, let us see a cross for this, that there is a normal man. Okay, so sorry, there is a normal woman. Okay, let's make a normal woman and a color blind man. Okay, so this one I am writing here C, so that you can understand in a better way that this person is affected, and here it's normal. So this is the color blind. Okay, now these are the persons about which we have to make cross. Now let's make their gamete. So if you will make the gamete X C, that is colorblind, we are having Y, and here we are having X, and here we are having X. Now let us make the cross. For this you will come to know that XC and X, that means the girl is here normal, but she is going to be affected with this colorblind disease. Let's see the other one. So if this is here, then again you can see that, oh, this girl is again going to be the color blind. Now let's make with this gamete. So XY. Okay, so this one is the normal child, and here again this XY. So this is also a normal child. So this is the case which we have discussed, that couple has given birth to some children and they all are seems to be the normal. Why they are normal? Because the boy is not having that X chromosome which is already carrying the color blindness gene. So this is the normal boy, and the girls are here, they are just having on one of the X, so they are not the affected one, they are marked one, they are the recessive one. Okay, so as they are recessive, so they are not going to be dominating, they are not going to be express themselves, they are going to be the hidden one, right? So they are the recessive diseases, recessive disorders. Now what you will see, if this girl and this girl is there, what you will see in this first generation, after this when you will make their second generation, and you will see that this girl is marrying to the normal man, in that case you can see that they are going to affect the person, they are going to affect the children, maybe more number of children gets affected. Okay, so with the color blindness. So now I hope that you are able to make the cross between XX and XY, so this can be easily seen and cleared. Fine. So hope now these two diseases, haemophilia and color blindness, is clear to you. Thank you for watching the video.